Here we go. Start with d4. I'm going with bishop d3 just to get on that square. So the nice thing is, you see how that's not a threat? This isn't a London. The bishop's not on f4, so b2 is defended. I don't really have anything to worry about. Now I'm going to start trying to play the Stonewall as accurately as possible. Knight d2 I like immediately just to stop knight e4. So that knight e4 is not even a consideration for my opponent. Now c3 and knight f3 get played, and castles. He takes. I have a big decision here. I actually really like queen takes f3 because it keeps control over e4. I am going to take with the knight, but I really think queen takes f3 is a normal decision as well. So we're going to castle. c3 still has to get played. We're going to make sure to get that in nice and secure. Knight e5 next, right? Just close our eyes and drop the knight on e5. Always take with the f-pawn, right? Always with the f-pawn. F-pawn opens up the rook. We have this queen joining a potential attack on g4 and h5. And depending where my opponent moves the knight, it could get real ugly real fast. Open f-file is prime for the attack here. Plus, this bishop does have either a slow way to get developed or e4, and it's just going to appear. It's just going to show up, right? So e4 looks like a nice move, but queen h5 first, I'm liking. Doesn't hurt to threaten checkmate. g6 looks like a terrible move. So we want to encourage that, and we got it. Let's go queen h6, and I'm looking at this. Rook there. The spidey senses should be tingling. This is an immediate rook takes f7. Queen takes h7, and the king can't run away. That's the important part. It's stuck here. And there's going to be lots of ways to mate this king. Rook coming to f1, bishop coming to h6, bishop coming to g6. It's all mate. It's all winning. I particularly like bishop g6 because rook e7 gets mated in one. And knight takes e5, pawn takes e5 is about all you can do to delay the inevitable here. I think we're doing it. There we go. Nice win there. Look at that. Checkmate in under 20 moves. That's what can happen in this opening. As I said, it's all about the king side. So, a few important points. Of course, I'm starting with d4. Then e3. They don't know what opening I'm doing yet. Bishop d3, I'm still keeping it disguised. It's not clear I'm going to Stonewall. I like getting here before they play bishop f5. And then I like playing this to guard the e4 square ahead of time. Good habit. Then we get the knight out. Take with the knight to still bring it into e5. Establish c3, so we're all nice and secure here. Knight e5. And at this point, I would probably play queen f3, queen h3, g4, g5, this kind of stuff. Maybe f5. But he takes. We always take with the f-pawn. Queen comes out. Bishop's great. My next move, maybe e4. Or maybe rook lift. But it all looks good here. This is like pretty much winning. About this opening. All right. e4. We're going to go for this. Takes. Let's play f5. I think you guys know the drill. c6. Let's castle. We castle. Now, I'd love to play knight e4. Guess what? I can't. So we're going to start with h6. I am definitely thinking about this, but it might not be as good as you think after bishop to g3. So I think here, I'm really considering going back to one of our old friends, queen e8. Now, if you don't take this right now, here comes knight e4, and it's unpinned as quick as a flash. Queen e8 is one of those moves that you don't really appreciate what it's actually doing until you see knight e4, and you're like, wait a minute. Queen e8 unpinned the knight, very sneaky. Queen wants to visit the king side here. Queen h5, queen g6. Of course, we always take with the f pawn. Now, we're not actually threatening to win a pawn here. Don't make that mistake. Sorry, a piece here. Don't make that mistake. We're pinned, but once that queen moves, maybe over here, it's gonna be looking pretty good for us. Also, if knight e5, you're blocking your own e-file, so you would lose a piece. All right, our turn here. Got to move this queen. I'm gonna choose g6, and you see how all the pieces. Look at these beautiful diagonals. They're all aimed straight at the king. Bishop takes h3. And I always say the Stonewall is a funny opening. It starts with the pawns like this, right? And then these two pawns, they end up on these two squares most of the time. And this bishop, which is supposed to be blocked by two pawns, is all of a sudden wide open and ready to win the game. Bishop takes h3. It's like a truck. g3 played. Good looking move. I'm thinking that queen f5 looks like the right way to proceed. Hitting f2. That's tough to meet already. And g5 is also intended here. f3. I think we want to go g5. We're going to just bust that move out. And remember, if takes, we have queen f2. So that's not an option. But with only our kingside pieces and sometimes the help of maybe just the bishop, Stonewall already creates pretty serious attacking chances. Take. Bishop takes, we take back. And if this pawn moves at all, there is going to be mate down here. Now the question is, where is that gosh darn mate? The funny thing about this mate is I think it's the exact same. Do you guys recognize the pattern? Queen here. Who remembers our previous game? It's the exact same pattern. We threaten this mate, and if they block it, we mate them in the corner. You remember that? We just did it. Same thing with this. Here we go. Nice pattern to know. I'm a particular fan of this move, Queen E8. In this position, white is essentially required to play this move. Truly. If you don't play this move as white, you're making a mistake. Because Queen E8 getting out of the pin and then knight E4 is super, super strong. Okay, d4. Starting with this move. We'll go e3 afterwards. They're not threatening this move, so let's play bishop d3 ahead of their bishop getting to f5. That's what we love to see. Now, I'm actually going to play knight d2. I just don't want to deal with knight e4. c3, nice and secure. And then, what move is coming next? Of course, it's f4. Of course. Knight f3, knight e5, castle. We always want to take like this. It's not always possible, but that's what we want to do. Take me to e5. That's what I'd like. All right. g3 looks like it might be played here. At this point, I could play this knight to f3 and into e5. But remember, I'd really want to keep that knight on d2 to guard e4. Technically speaking, you know, I don't really need knight there. And I could just go like this. But I like to prevent knight e4 because one annoying thing about the Stonewall is when your opponent plays knight e4 and plays f5. And then you're playing like symmetrical Stonewall. I hate that. So the reason that I did this is I do not want to allow him to go here and then back that up with f5. So I'm trying to play against that. The Stonewall is kind of, it's like a good opening, but it's so good that you don't want to let your opponent copy you, you know? Our knight comes out, guess where it wants to go. With the bishop showing up here, I have to be careful I don't let him play knight e4 once again. What was the point of bringing my knight here if I'm not going to keep controlling this square? For example, if he goes here and moves this knight, guess what? He's threatening knight there. And his next move is going to be f5. It's like impossible to win that position. Play queen e2 if he really threatens to play knight e4 and prevent it once again. Castle. Time for my knight to sink into e5. I'm ready to take with the f pawn as usual. Okay, this is typical, right? He goes into e4. It's probably not going to help him. At this point, I have a pretty nice decision to make. I can take with the bishop and end up with my knight here, with the knight arriving into the d6 square. But I have a very weak diagonal, and giving away my light squared bishop sucks. Or I can play knight takes and end up with my bishop here, which is just crushing. Like, for sure, it's a good position. But he plays bishop b7, queen d7, long castles. I may not mate him. I think that bishop takes for sure leads to a checkmate. Because after knight takes, I'm threatening this check. So he's pretty much forced to castle. And then all the pieces just show up on the king side here. Right, so he goes there, and he's going to lose pretty badly after knight d6. That's mate. That will be mate. And again, I mean, this is like another 16-move checkmate. I'm not winning these games super fast because I'm, you know, blasting my opponents with GM moves and like winning a ton of free pieces. No, it actually really is the attack and the type of positions that the Stonewall generates. That's what's getting me the wins. You know, you guys know me. When I play my normal blitz, even if it's against low-rated players, I don't mate them in 15 moves. This is the Stonewall. That's definitely not me. d4. I think you guys know we're eyeballing e3, bishop d3. There are so many moves that can be played here as black, but I'll go for this. So this bishop no longer coming out. Great. That's what I like. I should point out, if you ever get faced with this move to hit your bishop, it's usually nice to just move your bishop out of the way and then kick the knight out and move your bishop back. You generally don't want to give the bishop for the knight. Want to hang on to it. Now, we're obviously not thrilled because our opponent has done boring f5. Done our opening against us. But it's not going to stop us from bringing in the knight. And it's not going to stop us from winning a piece. The Stonewall cannot be stopped. It's too strong. My goodness. The high energy from this guy. It does not quit. That was far too much. I mean, guys, it's getting to the point I'm winning in less than 10 moves. Less than 10. This has not happened with any other opening we've ever done a series on. The Stonewall is confirmed the most OP opening we have done yet. D4, we know what we're doing. D5. E3, is this a Stonewall, brah? Hang on one sec. Okay, let's go F4. Sorry, F5. Stop that. It's always, you know, I don't know about tougher, but somewhat tougher as black to set up the Stonewall. Just takes a little bit longer. So I am going to go knight d7. Same thing with the white pieces. I want to stop knight e5. That's my primary goal. Now I'm not dealing with this and f4. I can focus on knight here, castle, and knight e4. That should play itself. The Stonewall is truly so easy. The moves are basic. Guess what? 94 is coming next, right? It's no surprise. 94, and he's going to have a tough decision. If and does he want to take that? Pre-moving F takes. This is what we want, right? 95. Well, guess what? There's a reason why my knight has been on d7 early. It's to prevent precisely this. I have the F file. I have an extra pawn. Everything looks good here. Let's bring our queen out. Open for queen h5 maybe. Nice little trick there. Bishop d7. Maybe rook f6, rook h6. But the pawn on e4 is so menacing. Opens up our rook, and like I said, the position just plays itself from that point on. c4. Okay. I'm looking at rook f6. Nice rook lift. If he takes me on d5, oh boy am I happy. I take and look at this beautiful bishop. The Stonewall. It starts with 2 pawns in the way. That bishop is trash. And look how often it ends up like this. Bishop is gorgeous now. Bishop g4, rook h6, h3, bishop takes h3. I'll say thank you very much. That's checkmate. Hey, weren't you listening? I said, that's checkmate. Nice win. Once again, the Stonewall doesn't disappoint. He saw rook h6, said, I don't know what this clown's doing, but I see a free bishop. What are the counters to this opening? Deceives. There are no counters to the Stonewall. Are you kidding me? Buddy, there's no answer to this opening. It is a cheat code. I'm just showing it to you. Eddie is not impressed with my Stonewall yet. Eddie, I think the Stonewall is a very legitimate opening. Truly. We're just starting at the, 500 elo mark here. Working our way up. It's no scholar's mate, but it's okay. It's okay, isn't it? What is good about the Stonewall? What do you mean? What is good? Everything's good about the Stonewall. Buddy, I've checkmated in less than 20 moves. And you can say, hey, that's because you're Grandmaster. But I disagree. I disagree. If you know the very, very, very basic ideas of the Stonewall, you'd be getting these wins too. I'm not doing anything too fancy. The attacks that I'm getting are because of the opening. I'm not a naturally aggressive player. But when you play the Stonewall, the attack comes hand in hand. It's always tougher with black, but we'll play e6 on e4. And on d4, we will play d5. Remember, c4, e6. We don't want to play c6 and take like that. We want to play e6 and take that way. So I'm absolutely taking like that. And my next move is f5. Well, my next move was going to be f5. f5 and knight f6. This is a very typical Stonewall position. Knight, castle. Knight d7 doesn't fully keep the knight out because there's no bishop here anymore. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, e4. He's just coming out with e4. Looks like it should be a mistake to me. Let's develop in castle. We got knight here to evict his knight from the strong e5 square. And again, if he ever takes me, he's just opening up my bishop. It would be very helpful, honestly. Castle and get rid of the knight. You want to take with the bishop. Don't mind trading bishops. Even when we have the white pieces, sometimes that will happen. We'll take, and because we have this pawn on e4, all we do is move the knight back, and there's just no defending this pawn. g4 is also a crazy move. That move doesn't look right. All right, queen there. So we can win the pawn by doing like that, but I personally like how connected this all is. And so I'm looking more at queen g5 to try to take this. Keep the pawns defending everything. Now, don't forget your rules of chess. En passant, but actually, oof, I'm torn here. En passant, knight takes e5, super strong. Rook takes f4, also super strong. I'm torn, it all looks good. Rook takes f4. My old friend. Let's do this one. This should win me 2 pawns instead of just 1. That's a challenging move. I think we can go takes and queen g3, or we could take first and take here. We have options. Remember, after we take that, that pawn is going to be hanging. Now, obviously, things have changed dramatically. At this point, I'm just trying to take pawns. But still, that Stonewall position at the start, the knight coming into e4 and f takes, that already gave me a good starting position, an advantage right from the beginning. And takes, we take this way. Opening up our bishop. Notice how I've done this entire game. I've done everything, all this damage, without my bishop or my rook. That is the nature of the Stonewall. Let's finally complete the development here. Finally. Bring the king to the center. Keep the endgame simple. Hitting the knight there. That's probably the next move. Bishop takes, also bishop c6 and d4. Now, I don't love these sets of double pawns, but if he takes it, I'm up literally 5 pawns. I think that's enough, you know? I think it's enough. I was thinking of trying to keep my knight, but knight's so strong. But I think it's easy enough to give it up. I mean, at this point, every single pawn is blocked, stopped. I mean, it's not looking fun. We'll take. He doesn't even want to take back. Damn, this guy's got the baby photo and everything. Trying to make me feel bad. We take those dubs all the same. Kept our stick on the ice. This was a good Stonewall. E4 was very unexpected. Not a good move. I mean, this was winning from the start. Winning from the start. We're at 585. D4. Let's go E3. Now, the reason I'm going here is because right now E5 is threatened. If my opponent's threatening E5, I cannot allow it, simply. here. Okay, so he took early before our knight could take back. So we're definitely going to take with the queen. We're going to solidify this pawn structure. We're going to get castled. And we don't immediately have a knight to slap in on the e5 square. But it'll get there. I actually like starting with this. Bringing the bishop to e1. We know about this idea. We've talked about it. And our knight still gets to d2. It's kind of a best of both worlds. Bishop out to h4. This maneuver is really useful. Knight, I want on e5, but I'm going to have to work a little bit to get it there. What I don't want to do necessarily is play queen here, knight here, try to play knight e5, and see him play knight e4, followed by f5. I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. H6. Let's bring the rook over. I'm just improving my position here. And this just looks like someone lashing out. Right? This looks very good for me. I'm about to win a piece here. Maybe I'll set up a checkmate here. I think he should move the knight, but oof, he's deliberating, and I don't think he landed on the correct response. B6, unfortunately, just hands over the game to me. Now taking, I agree, looks very tempting, and I also agree that it's winning. However, in this position, I am very attracted to the move Queen H5. Delivering checkmate on H7, and the rook can't move because the rooks are in each other's way. The pawn can't move because the bishop's in the way. And there's nothing to block this diagonal. So Queen H5, despite the fact that Queen F6 looks good, Queen H5 should get the job done even better. Queen H3 is better. I like your idea, I like your energy, but I don't want to allow Bishop H4 and F5. A nice little mate there. Why not put in check first and then do this? Because if I check, the bishop returns and then F5 comes. Very nice, very nice. Another successful Stonewall. He took first, which is interesting. We haven't seen this so far, so I'm glad we got something different. Knight D2 and C3. These are moves we want to do. In reality, I should get used to playing C3 a little bit sooner, because I feel like a lot of you guys are going to get faced with Knight B4. Here is a particular example where the queen not on D1 after Knight B4, we can't move the bishop. So we actually do lose our bishop here, just not super nice. Not my favorite. But otherwise, smooth sailing. We got our bishop. And here, I was probably about to play like my queen over and slide my knight in. Something like that. But he just started blundering big time. Wow. Look at you. You made it, didn't you? To the end of another Stonewall episode. Well, congratulations. And if you're watching and enjoying, but you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that button right now. Also, click that bell to turn on post notifications so you never miss another video. See you in the next episode.